son wants a project. So we are here to pick up a 1984 Corvette. These two tires are flat. Attempt to get it onto the trailer. Hey, little guy. Oh, there he goes. All right, here's the first car wash. Hey, what's up, ladies and guys? All right, well, we're back working on that Corvette, the transmission. The last Corvette transmission was a while ago. We started putting it back together, and it actually took this long to get the parts and to get time to spend trying to put this back together. I don't know how far we're going to get today, but it has been at least 2 weeks, since I did that last Corvette video. And the last Corvette video, we started reassembling it. We noticed the roller clutch low and reverse bearing right there was broken when we picked it up, and all the bearings started falling out of it. Well, turns out there's a lot more to it, trying to find the right part, but we hope this is the right part. So we finally got that. That's what took the longest to get in. And then the other thing was what was the spring, Austin? The reverse, the 1-2. The 1-2 accumulator spring, when we were taking it apart, was broken. There's two pieces here. And then this is the original 3-4 spring. So this is what the 1-2 is supposed to look like. And turns out there's a lot more to it than we thought on these also. And you can see I can actually compress these with the 2 fingers. So then we ordered the GM ones, and these are a lot stiffer. They're still in the package. I got 2 of those, but then I also got 2 other ones here that are basically like an upgrade. They're supposed to make your shifting from 1 to 2 and 3 to 4 or something like that harder or firmer. So we still haven't decided what springs we're going to put in there, but we do have their GM springs and some aftermarket heavier duty ones. That we turned out was a whole learning process because they're all different color codes, but none of the color codes are really described at which ones you should use, basically. So it's more like by the manufacturer. But anyways, let me show you the parts again, because this is a whole new video. Let me show you the parts nightmare we have all spread out on the 2 tables in here. And then once again, this is not a how-to video. This is how we're doing it. So it's basically you're just following along for a ride, because this is a heck of a journey. We've never rebuilt a 700 R4 transmission before. And it's been apart now for probably 3 weeks, taking up the garage. So we still have a lot more to go through and rebuild and put back together and clean and take apart and put new. So I'm just going to basically do pretty much everything on high speed or time lapse, so that way you can see. And once again, as I said in the other transmission video, if you are rebuilding your 700 R4 transmission, do not use this video as your how-to. There are transmission professionals out there that have very good what are they called, tutorials on how to rebuild these transmissions. That's what we're using. This is basically just you guys watching us make idiots out of ourselves, trying to save $1, see if this works, and we're learning.
I think it's rollers it's hung up on.
Don't push, because that's when I broke the other one. It's like the tolerances are so close. Once it goes, it just drops down. What was it?
Take it out and do it.
No. Can you?
Yeah.
Do it careful. Let me hold it. Okay.
See how the roller bearings are like along this? Like they're not in the middle of two springs. They're along this hard piece and a spring here.
Yeah.
So the roller bearing can go this way. Like you see the dot on top. And if it goes this way, it goes in more.
Oh.
So I make sure to twist in that direction so you can see through the dots up top. See the roller bearing like there?
Yep.
As you twist, it moves to the left, and then there's room. So that means this probably also only really spins one direction. Well,
Okay.
so we got to make sure that we put the roller bearing facing the right way. You see what I'm saying?
Problem is they don't have that on any video. All right, this is when that book comes in handy. What Austin just was paying attention to was he found this breakdown in the book. And we thought, well, we weren't really paying attention. We didn't know. But when he found out how to put this together, he realized something, that when you turn this bearing, it'll only turn one way. So we have to take it apart. We actually have it together wrong. And the way you could tell is right here in the book. He just noticed this. See A and B with that center support bearing? If you turn it B, direction B, it freewheels. So if you turn it counterclockwise, it freewheels. Well, if you turn ours counterclockwise, it locks up, but you could turn it the other way. So we actually have to take that apart again. But this is a very good page that we needed, that we should have looked at. There, that way you have it. And that is for the center support, I guess it's called. All right, we're gonna undo this and we're gonna re-put it back that way. So there's a glitch between the book and the video that we're watching, but the guy in the video zooms in and we have it the same way as the guy in the video. Do you want to show what the difference is, Austin? With the lockup part?
You explained it.
Well, explain it.
Depending on what way it spins.
Okay, the book, let me make sure it's in video. Hold on. Okay. The book has this B and the A and it says lock up and free, and like Austin and I understood the book to show is if you turn it direction B, which is counterclockwise, it should be free spinning. Well, since the arrows are next to the center hub, we thought you should be able to turn that center hub that way, and you can't, it's locked up. And if you turn it A, ours spins, but the book shows A as free spinning, or as locked up. But what Austin just realized is possibly it's whatever this stays still, and if you turn the outer section in the direction of B, it should be free spinning, and it does. See, and if you, which is turning this, so this AB should be down on this. Personal opinion, because if you turn it to A, it locks up. Turn it to B. And this is how the guy in the book, in the video we're watching has it, who is a transmission guy. So it's kind of confusing, but it's the bearings, on the back of the bearing, you have the holes and the vertical lines. This and this, those should be facing down. So on the upside, you only have this groove, all right? So that's what we figured. And it goes in like this, in the transmission like this. So this is going to be facing up when we're assembling it. All right, like I said, don't watch this video, watch another video on how to. Now we're going to put this in. All right, well, we're back working on that transmission. We ended up having to order more of these, sorry about that, seals. So we ended up ordering these. The ones that they gave us with the kit stretched out when I put them on the shaft, and and the camera shut off on us that last time. So it's after Christmas. It's been another week and a half waiting for the parts. But this is one of the new ones. You can see it broke off. I'll show you when I turn the camera around. But I ended up getting the split style seals now. Let me see if I can get one of these. You can see how they have the opening there. So I'm hoping that will make this go back together a little bit easier. My buddy Mike's back with us trying to help us. Austin's over there. So let me show you what we're doing on how far we got, and then I'm just gonna put you back on time lapse. Okay, so we got it this far, and you can see the middle one's missing. It ripped. So we gotta take these off. See how they stick out too far now? Because in order to get them on, they stretched. I guess you're supposed to use a special tool, a resizing tool, to put this type of seal on there. So that's where we're at. But we gotta take this all apart again now to get to that shaft. Hey, what's up, ladies and guys? Hey, I'm gonna go out and start cutting some firewood. We were up till 3 o'clock in the morning working on this transmission down here. It's 90% back together. We have one more broken part that we have to wait for it to get sent to us. It's for the 84 Corvette. And I do believe I fixed my chainsaw, but I'm warming up the excavator. I'm gonna cut up some of these rounds right now, and hopefully by then my camera will be fully charged again. So I'm not gonna be able to record any of this, obviously, but all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get the 039 out that I just repaired yesterday, and I am going to start cutting up some rounds. All right, well, we're back at the Corvette transmission. The parts came in, and what we broke last time was the red speedometer gear. We took this old one off. It was really, really hard to get off there, but we were able to get it off eventually. And then when we went to put the old one back on, it wouldn't fit quite on the shaft, and it broke. So we had to take a pause again for a couple days until we got the new parts in. So we got this, which is a red speedometer gear, and we also got a new kickdown cable because we knew we needed the kickdown cable. Knock on wood, I don't have any wood around. We should have everything now to put the transmissions completely together, and we are going to keep our fingers crossed and maybe even put it in the car tonight. That's our goal. So wish us luck, and once again, you're going back on time lapse. Okay, so far as we could tell, transmission's all together, except for the oil pan gasket, the filter, and the kickdown cable and the dipstick tube. We're gonna do all that once it's in the car, because I read that in order to adjust the kickdown cable properly, you have to take the pan off. So there's no use in ruining a gasket. We have a brand new torque converter also with a higher stall. I'm not sure what the stall is and why. And so now we're going to get the car up in the air. On to the next big step. Hopefully start putting it back in there. So there are 7 bolts that hold the transmission on. There's 3 on this side, 3 on this side, and 1 dead center up top. And this transmission is missing, well, we're missing that bolt. We never took it out. So there's only 6 bolts, but I'm happy with 6 bolts.
There's not a hole for a 7.
Yes, there is. Dead center top there is. On the engine there is.
Not on the transmission.
Oh, not on the transmission there's not? Oh, okay. That's why, because Austin said the transmission doesn't have a hole up top, but I know the engine did have a hole up there. So there's only the 6. 3 on that side, 3 on that side. So they're all hand tight or snug right now. We're checking for the torque specs. And then once we torque it, then we can put the C channel in here and the drive shaft in. And we also put the dipstick tube in, which goes up on that top bolt, up on that corner. And there's the wires that go on this side. But we don't want to take the jack out yet until we put everything, the rest of the rear end back together. I'm not sure what you're gonna see, but we torqued the transmission bolts to 25 to 30. We heard different, anywhere from 25 to 30. So they're about 27 to 30. And now we're gonna try to put this cross member in and the drive shaft in so we can get this lift out of here. Because this is holding up the back of the tranny. And that, there's a big U channel that goes from here to here, which is right there. Because this transmission does not have a cross member. Most cars have a cross member that holds the back of the transmission. This Corvette does not. And here's the aluminum drive shaft. You're not gonna see much of it, so we're just gonna get it done. Well, as usual, my phone died, so we have not been able to record anything, my camera, but Hayden showed up to help us. We have the transmission in, we have the starter in, we have the whole drive shaft and the angle iron in. We have the transmission lines in, we have the dipstick tube in, we have the starter in, we have the shield in, we have the torque converter all tied up. Everything's done, don't worry about the open exhaust. The only problem now is we just went to put fluid in. And the dipstick, since it was rotted, we bead blasted it, and luckily I put a coat of light paint on it. And as soon as we start putting fluid in, it started leaking out. You can see right there is a hole. So what we are doing is we're going to put a little JB weld on that for right now, just so we can get some fluid in the transmission. Because we are impatient and it is 9 o'clock at night and we're not gonna be able to get a dipstick tube for a couple days. All right, well, that's it for now. We'll keep you informed. All right, ladies and guys, my good camera is not working, the one with a wide angle. So, and the one that shoots in 4K. So we're back down to 1080 for this portion of the video. But the transmission is in. We have some fluid in there. We have the car up in here. I have to fix the wiring or do the wiring on the starter. And then we will attempt to start it. Don't forget, we do not have an exhaust on there. We have open headers right now, like legit open headers. It is literally cut off right at the manifold. So we're not going to run it for obviously a long time. We just want to get it turning and get the fluid going through that transmission so we can put more fluid in there. So I think we have 2 gallons in there right now. I'm not sure what the total amount we need is, but there's a brand new stall converter or torque converter in there that is empty. New filter, new gasket underneath, obviously. The dipstick, and pretty much everything's done on the transmission as far as we can tell. And it's all installed. It went back together way easier than I ever would have imagined. And so my fingers are, I'm kind of hopeful. My fingers are crossed on this. So enough jibber jabber. I'm gonna put you way over here. I'm just gonna go underneath it and work on the starter. And once the starter's done, we're gonna see if this thing starts up again. Fingers crossed. So we cycled it through the gears, reverse, wanted to go in reverse, drive wanted to go in drive, neutral works. We just topped it off with fluid. We put another 2 pints, 1 liter. 1 liter, 2 quarts in. All that smoke you see is I sprayed PB Blaster on all the exhaust manifold bolts, because that's our next project, is we got to take the exhaust manifold bolts off so we can put the headers on. But that's what all that smoke is, because we're running open headers and everything's covered in oil. All right, let's go. Do it again. Cycle it again. Dipstick in?
No.
Your wing nut is underneath that, so. Well, the car knows what reverse is, the car knows what neutral is, what drive is, and what park is. So I'm going to consider that a success. Like I said, all that smoke, I had PB Blaster on all these bolts for the exhaust manifold. So that's what our next project is we have to figure out what bolts we need for the exhaust manifold, because we have all these homemade, or these brackets on here that hold the alternator and the AC pump on. But as for transmission, guys, I am gonna conclude this video. All right, guys, well, as for the transmission is installed. It's up to fluid. The fluid level's checked and good. It knew what park was, it knew what reverse was, it knew what neutral was, it knew what drive was. Won't be able to really tell. There's no leaks, that's the other thing, there was no leaks underneath, and no random noises. So far as I'm concerned, we did it. What we do have to, before we could drive this thing, we have to put headers on, because right now we're running open headers, or open exhaust manifolds, because we had to cut that exhaust off. So what we're going to do is going to let the engine cool, and we're going to go to the store and buy, look to see what we can find for exhaust manifold bolts, and then we'll come back in and start working on the headers. But I'm going to wrap this transmission video up here, because this has just been 4 weeks, Austin? It's been probably 4 weeks. I think it was before Thanksgiving that we started this whole thing. And then when we started putting it back together, well, when we were ready to put it back together, they sent us the wrong torque converter, a damaged torque converter. So we had to wait for that to get back. And then Thanksgiving came, and then we started working on it again. And then we found that the 1-2 accumulator spring was broken, so we had a special order of the 1-2 accumulator. That right there, I think, took 1 or 1.5 weeks just to get in. We had to wait for a couple different ones because there was a problem of which accumulator spring to get. So we went with the GM, the actual GM ones, they said General Motors on them. So they were a lot stiffer than the ones that were in it, but not as stiff as the aftermarket ones that we had found. But they're still pretty stiff, so we have no clue how that's the 1-2 accumulator springs are going to work. But we replaced the 1-2 and the 3-4, so both springs. Then we continued rebuilding it, and then we got the valve body all in, got everything good to go, and then the speedometer gear broke. It was real brittle. The red gear, there's the worm gear, that shattered on installation. So that put us back another week waiting for that to get in. Once we got that, it slid on no problem. The clip slid on no problem. And Austin and I were able to throw the transmission in last night. Went smoother than expected, but my camera kept dying. So that's why I'm using my old camera right now. But the camera kept dying, so I didn't get too much video of us actually installing it. But using that motorcycle lift was so easy. It just literally lifted it right up on 4x4s and just pushed it right in place. And the 6 bolts went in super easy. And then just hooking up the starter and the battery today. All right, don't forget to check out all the other videos on this Corvette. You'll see how we originally found this Corvette and follow along. I don't know if this is gonna be video 19 or 20 or 21, it's somewhere around there. But we will do another video of us doing the exhaust system with the headers and the dual exhaust going back. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Feel free to leave comments. Keep the comments kid-friendly, please. Like to keep the channel a kid-friendly channel. And say Austin, say goodbye. There's Austin, waving bye. All right, see you on the next video.